really want a female president, don't you?
I really do.
Yeah.
We want to give Melania Trump the Child Advocacy Award because she said she did so much for children when she.
Morgan Freeman has never been one to hold back on issues, and this time it wasn't different. He completely unleashed hell on Melania and Donald Trump, and his words were hitting harder than ever before. What did he say?
To tell you the truth, I think we're living in the most dangerous times since we got attacked.
Before we take a look at what Morgan Freeman said, let us look at some of Trump's comments that must have triggered the actor. For example, when Trump said politics wasn't about chasing fame or stirring the pot for kicks, he claimed he was in it for the good of humanity.
Very proud of it.
You were great.
I'm against mandates,
right?
Strongly against mandates, but I'm very proud of what we did. I saved worldwide tens of millions of lives.
One last question.
Trump was confident of the things he was saying because he knew there were visible proofs to his claims.
I'm a cheerleader for this country. I want to be positive for this country. I take everything seriously, and I took that very seriously, but
Was politics personal for Trump because of the way he spoke? Because it felt like he'd been waiting to say this for years. He didn't care who heard it. He was putting it all out there.
But I'm a cheerleader for the country, and our country came out of it better than anybody else. We've done a great job.
A final question, President Trump.
Morgan Freeman has never hesitated to let people know that he dislikes Trump and would prefer someone else at the helm of affairs. But how messy was he willing to make the saga?
Joe.
Do you see Donald Trump making an appearance on the show in some way? Do you see the lines blurring?
Who?
Never mind.
All hell broke loose when Morgan was invited to Jimmy Kimmel's midnight show. He didn't hold back.
So, as a man who has been in this country through the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, all of the decades.
Yeah.
This was the question that turned everything around.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this is a more difficult time than any of those? Is it better? Are we just...
To respond to this, Morgan didn't even blink. He kept going, saying things that made it obvious that he was aiming to unravel Trump's whole image and what was really behind the scenes.
I think, to tell you the truth, I think we're living in the most dangerous times since we got attacked in 1941.
Wow.
To make things worse, he dropped this next line like he'd been mulling it over forever. It was calm and deliberate, and it painted Trump as someone hiding behind a perfect smile, someone who's not what he seems.
Not only did you do that, you narrated Senator Hillary Clinton's video at the Democratic National Convention.
Yes.
You really want a female president, don't
I
you?
really do.
Yeah.
As if that wasn't enough, Morgan decided to take things to another level. He went straight for what Trump built his life around and turned everything upside down.
But I think, it's time we moved on from old white men running the country.
Obviously, that was Morgan punching Trump in the face. Things kicked off on the wrong foot when he was supposed to be talking about his movies and documentary series. But instead, he seized the moment and started tearing into Trump right there on live TV with no warning.
Or is this in the CRS category? Yeah.
Yeah.
His silence to this question says it all. But that was just the start of it. What he said next had people glued to their screens, because it wasn't just words. It was a full-on assault on everything Trump tried to project.
So it must not have been something that you were really looking forward to. Were you politically minded as a young man?
No.
When did...
From all indications, it seems Morgan was once a fan of Trump. But what changed?
When did it hit you?
I think it really started with, I got interested with Bill Clinton.
With Bill?
And right at Trump's face, Morgan bluntly said he prefers someone else as president, not Trump. That must have hit Trump really hard.
And did he personally get you involved, or you just saw him and thought, oh, that's a guy that
That's a guy that I think is gonna ride with us a while.
By now, it's clear Morgan and Trump aren't ever going to sit down for coffee. But things got heavier when the interviewer asked him a question that further cranked the tension up.
He was the first president. Where did you meet him?
At the White House, right?
Well, I don't know. Have you since visited all the presidents at the White House?
His answer was a knockout blow for Trump. It was so direct, so brutal, that you'd wonder how Trump would even keep his head up after hearing it. This wasn't just talk. It was a statement that stuck.
Yes, all but one.
All but one. Which one?
Uh,
Hold on, you know what I'll do?
When things start to go wrong in a country, of course, expect people to speak up, one of which was Robert De Niro expressing his anger towards Trump. When asked what his thoughts were about his colleague's position, Robert had this to say.
I mean, he's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk, he's a dog, he's a pig, he's a con, a bullshit artist, a
What he said next wasn't something Trump could shrug off. It was the kind of thing that'd follow him around, and if Trump caught it, you know it'd rattle him too. This was personal now.
artist, a mutt who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care, thinks he's gaming society, doesn't pay his taxes. He's an idiot. Colin Powell said it best.
Will Trump hit back? That's what everyone's waiting to find out. However, Morgan wasn't backing off. He kept pushing, showing he had no plans to let this die down anytime soon.
Best. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment to this country. It makes me so angry that this country has gotten to this point, that this fool, this bozo, has wound up where he has.
That wasn't the end of it, though. Morgan had more locked and loaded, and he kept firing, each line hitting harder, making it impossible for Trump not to hear him.
He talks how he wants to punch people in the face. Well, I'd like to punch him in the face. This is somebody that we want for president? I don't think so.
Then he said this, proving he's not afraid to say it all. He didn't care what it had sparked. He wanted the world to know exactly where he stood on Trump.
I owe the city a lot. And that's why it's so weird that Donald Trump is just across the street. Because he doesn't belong in my city.
The thing is, Robert isn't just critical of Trump. He despises him and doesn't hold back at all. Not only that, Robert sees Trump as a leader who rules through intimidation.
It's so frightening and scary, and he's dangerous. We got to get rid of him.
Do you ever?
While Robert's ripping into Trump, resistance builds up, people still pick sides, and in this issue turns into something that'd keep this story burning for weeks.
And shame on those Republicans that don't have the nerve, the balls to go after him.
So what's the end of this road for Morgan and Trump? How's this saga going to wrap up? That's the question we're all left with now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up.